Yeah, we're ready. Hello again.
Welcome back.
Two chicks that spark the heart, and we also spark the energy. My colleague Mary Pat Knight, leader of Leaders, company and CEO of Leaders Inspired.
And this is Fitz, Cassie, Fitz, Cass. No, Fitz. Cass Fitz Henry, all right, and she is the author of the Heartbeat series and a leader of Leaders and the creator of a beautiful program about accessing your innate intuitive intelligence, which we want to make sure we tell people about.
That's true. That's true. Yes. So I'm going forth in the launching this week, actually, the program called Leadership Intuition and How to Intuit Through It. And so it's a 4-week course where we're going to have meet together in groups of 10, and you can find out more about it at theleadingheart.com. And I hope you join us. I'm actually offering some free scholarships for it too, because I'm going to do some learning on it, as my 6th book will be How to Intuit Through It.
Yep.
All right, we are talking about the topic in this series of the L word and the F word, love and fear.
Love and fear.
Some of you might have another thinking of the other F word with fear, but that kind of all goes.
We could say, I've heard people say F fear before. I've heard them say that before. I may have said it a time or two myself.
And we have had a couple videos already recorded, and this one is an interesting one. And trust me, we do not necessarily pre-plan this stuff. It starts with a conversation where we're having coffee, and then we're digging deep, and then we say, that would be a really good eavesdropping one. And part of it is, I think, for my purpose, I like to record these because then I get to go back and listen to the wisdom that gets mulled between our two hearts and our gut. So, shall I set it up?
Do it.
All right, so I had a vision, and when I say vision, it's something that I'm not necessarily even have to be asleep. It's not a dream, but it is. It's just one of the gifts that I get. And the vision showed me 2 mirrors, like full standing mirrors, and they were facing each other like this, and on the top of it, the word said ignorance. And then in the middle of the 2 mirrors was a coffin, and it said, bury it. I was like, wow, ignorance. What's that about? And then about 5 minutes later, I had another one. And when I say this, I visually see it. And so I see another mirror, and now it says arrogance. And I look in between it, and there's a coffin. And it says, bury it. And those are 2 words that I thought, I don't even know where to go with that. And so we did start to talk about that, and you had probably more insight. This is what always happens with us. I get something, and she gets the answers. She gets something, and I get the answers. And that's why we say we're 2 chicks that spark the heart. I mean, that's how it works, right?
Well, and then let's just get practical about that. Where in your life do you have somebody in your life who will do that for you? I mean, so I know you've done Vistage peer groups for many, many years.
Yeah.
And we both run our own small coaching groups. I mean, talk about sparking, but if someone is standing next to you that can help hurdle you over to the other side of understanding, just through questions, through love, through holding space, through spitballing, the concepts with each other. Wow, what a gift.
Yeah. And so ignorance, I think you were the one that first I think I had to ask you, what's your definition of ignorance when you coach the leaders? I think of ignorance as I don't know. I think of ignorance of sometimes an excuse that I say I don't know. I also say that, kind of like my labeling. We talked about in a previous video how we sometimes label people or groups, and that's not always healthy to do. And I think that I would say I was ignorant to that because that's kind of the story that I had growing up as a kid. We labeled things all the time. And until I advanced my awareness, which is what the Leading Heart community is all about, is advancing the awareness to that, I wouldn't have said, wow, I was quite ignorant on that, but I do now.
And if you think about ignorance in that was not malintended.
No.
It's a pattern, it's a program that's running in your life, and you had historical perspectives of it. The ignorance becomes the lack of self-awareness that tells you don't have to challenge it.
Ah, all
And
right.
so
Wait. This, I always have to say this to her. Let me close my eyes and say that one more time.
And now if
The
I can remember what I said. It's the lack of self-awareness that tells you, I don't know if what I said tells you, when play it back, you'll hear what I said.
Yeah.
The lack of self-awareness that says you don't have to change.
Oh.
Like this is normal. This is
Right.
normal.
Okay.
And it produces a kind of rigidity. The ignorance produces a kind of rigidity. I don't think it's always malintended. Sometimes it is.
So kind of like the fixed mindset
Fixed mindset
versus
Woo!
growth
Ding, ding.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would we ask ourselves, what are we ignorant to, or how do you discover it? Because in the mirror it said ignorance, and it was a friend that was also within the vision with me, and it was like, ignorance, bury it. One for me, one for you. And so even in a relationship, what would the ignorance be? That which we don't see, that which we don't want to see.
Don't want to see, don't see. You're not programmed to. It's just you have no knowledge of. So, for instance, if you are like navigating a friendship with someone, and you are not in a place of empathy where you can be on their side to see what their experience is, or have some understanding of what their experience is, you're ignorant as to their experience because you don't know.
Okay, that's true. Now I know where this was going. So then the second mirror was arrogance.
Arrogance.
So when I went to my ignorance, I actually thought of how ignorant people can be that they can judge me that I have these gifts.
Ding, ding, ding.
And label me, right? I mean, I'm learning all this stuff and now I'm starting to see it. And so, of course, I'm projecting and I'm judging and I'm getting very... I'm projecting and I'm becoming arrogant.
Yeah.
Which was the next mirror. Arrogance. One for me, one for you. Bury it. So my arrogance would be the energy of judgment, the energy of fear, the energy of I'm better. You just don't have it right. You just don't know. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm better than you. I know more than you. I've had more experience than you. Look at the others and how they compare to me. And when they are othered, we talked about othering.
Othering. Oh,
yeah,
yes, that's
the
right.
word. I don't know. I really don't even know if that's a real
She's
word.
got her own dictionary.
Okay.
I should publish it one day.
Othering other people, which we all do. I mean, I do it too. We all do.
And give the example of othering again.
This is not true because I didn't. I graduated from Dartmouth.
What's that? Okay.
I graduated from Dartmouth. You went to a community college.
Oh.
You're othered.
Othered.
You're
over there.
I'm Ivy. You're nothing.
I
You're
see.
othered. Okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I'm this class, you're that class. I'm this educated, you're this educated. I'm in this group, you're in that group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time we're tooting our horn, tooting
Yeah.
our horn. And that's not to say you don't stand up for yourself in self-confidence. That is not to say you don't do that. But when I toot my horn at the expense of another person, I'm arrogant.
Yes. Oh, God, do we all do that?
Yeah.
Do we all do that?
Oh.
Right. All the time. And then we attach the story to it, and then we give a lot of detail to the story. That's the one that I've worked on rewinding. You don't need to give all the detail to the story because you don't need to necessarily toot your horn. You just need to be present and authentic.
But I thought that maybe we could level set. So
Okay.
I went to the dictionary.
Ooh.
So
Because she knows how to spell words to look them up.
I'm just trying to say that the Merriam-Webster for ignorance. Merriam-Webster says the state or fact of being ignorant, lack of knowledge, education, or awareness. So I'm going to go to
Lack
arrogance,
of knowledge,
education, or awareness.
So awareness, okay.
I picked that third word in what we're talking about. Awareness. Awareness of self and awareness of other, which is the core of empathy. It's also the cornerstone of compassion. And
It's also the cornerstone of knowing your innate intuitive intelligence.
There we go. So it's all kind of linked together.
Yes.
So when I start any of the work that I do with any of my clients, I have them do a self-appraisal. And in the self-appraisal, the reason I say that is, and I never use the words, but I'll take it back to this. We are ignorant of that which we don't acknowledge. Because we don't acknowledge it, we don't see it, we're not aware of it. So if you are accurately self-appraising on a regular basis, accurately taking a look at things that lift you up, take you down, things that, patterns and habits that don't serve you anymore, that you're willing to release, like we did in the last video that we did, in the releasing exercise that we did. When you don't do that, you are living in some level of ignorance.
Yes, which is really why everybody does need a coach.
Yeah.
Whether it's a paid professional coach, whether it's somebody that can be the mirror and gently ask the questions for you to, just as I actually got this question from a coach, which was interesting, and
lovingly ask the questions too.
Lovingly ask the questions, and do your sacred retreats, and
so
go deep to find that ignorance that you are not aware of, is what you're saying.
So there's a couple more things that I think are really important that I picked up on the gospel of the internet. This is from the Midwest Alliance for Meditation, okay? And they're saying the word ignorance has a very negative connotation, but it is really just a state of unawareness, of not knowing. We all experience it at different times and in various aspects of our lives. Ignorance can arise from a lack of exposure. So are you insulated and you're not exposing yourself to new experiences? Confusion, so you don't know your own state of mind, or you're relying on somebody else to tell you how to feel, think, or believe, or even from deluded thinking. So think about some of the environment that we're in right now, that some things that we have taken to be true that we really need to question. You pick whatever it is that's coming at you, in this crazy kind of cacophony of fear-mongering, what is it so we're in some deluded thinking in some instances. And it says, this is what it looks like. You revel, leaders, you're going to love this one. You revel in saying, this is the way it's always been. So that's the way things should be. Should?
Fixed thinking, right?
Fixed thinking. Okay.
Should judgment.
You defend the processes, but for no good reason, even if they're doing more harm than good. You have people on your team who do that? Yeah, they're stuck. You fear or despise change of any kind. Ooh, human beings do not like to change.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
And your default answer to everything is no. Ignorance. Kind of fun, huh?
Yeah, and when I think about that vision now, as I'm still kind of cooking, I don't always get the insights to the visions that I see, but it is interesting that when you read that about the awareness and how we have, through our intuitive intelligence, been guided to create the Leading Heart community, which is about advancing the awareness. And so I wonder if the mirror wasn't ignorance, the work is bury it. Love the word.
Open the portal.
Right? Yeah, love the word, just as we need to love fear, because it teaches us that which we don't want to do and be. And ignorance can teach us what it is that we don't want to be and how to be aware. So if you're stuck on, I don't know how to be aware. How do I advance my awareness? How do I evolve myself? How do I, rise up to a better version of me? Look at the word ignorance.
Yes.
And say, where am I ignorant? Where do I have these beliefs? Beliefs are things we say over and over and over again.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily true.
Yeah.
It's like my own belief of, the abandonment not being validated.
Well, and then the other part of it, I think that actually is the antidote that I know I use in my work a lot, I know you do as well, is curiosity.
Yes.
So where and what can be done about it? What could I believe instead? That takes us back to what we did last video.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, the curiosity.
Yeah.
Always be curious.
Yeah.
And that's what we support too. And that's what we do, is we're curious with each other. So then the next word is...
But I want to do Wayne Dyer first, because we're going to bow to Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer says the highest form of ignorance is when you reject something that you don't know anything about.
And yet, you can't be arrogant and flip that, right? Flip that pancake and say, what do I not know anything about that I'm judging?
That I'm judging another person.
Right, so that would be one list.
Yeah,
and then also, well, I guess that would be the list. What am I judging? Because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm labeling and I'm giving the opinion.
And I don't know anything about it.
I'm giving the stamp of it.
Yeah.
And we don't want to, so we don't.
I remember early on, my son was a very early advocate, like early high school advocate of understanding climate change. He just really had He studied it, he knew about it, he was not unknowledgeable about it. He had done his work, and yet he kept bumping up against his friends who had accepted the beliefs of their parents or their grandparents or society or whatever, who told him that what he was talking about was bogus.
Mm.
And it wasn't. It was studied. He had knowledge about it, but he kept bumping up against ignorance to at what point he actually, he still has his beliefs and he still does great study about other things. But that is not something that he was able to push through. There was a barrier of ignorance.
Yeah. So I think when you begin to advance your awareness, you have breakthroughs.
Yeah.
And when you have a breakthrough of something, you boldly put down the old belief. You pick up the curiosity. You say the ignorance, as in the vision, bury it.
Yeah. Not judge it. Now, you didn't hear judge there. Don't judge the ignorance. Take a look at it and say it's not useful. Bury it.
Yeah.
We'll have a funeral for you.
Thank you for teaching me.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching me.
Yeah.
We don't wear the shoes that we wore when we were 5 years old. We grow into bigger shoes.
Right.
So the arrogance part comes in. Did you look up that one in the
I
dictionary?
did too.
Of course you did. She's such a good student.
I'm sorry. I was geeking out on it today. Okay. So arrogant derives from the Latin arrogare.
Arrogare?
Arrogare.
Arrogare.
Arrogare, which is to claim. Okay.
Mm.
And the idea is that someone is claiming credit or advantages that they're not entitled to. Think about
Claiming
that.
credit or advantages.
That
the
they're not
arrogance.
entitled to. Like, I know better than you is arrogant. Why should I claim that? How could I possibly claim that I know anything better than you for you?
Well, couldn't I say because I have more education or you have more education?
Arrogant.
Arrogant. But isn't there ever some time that you just do know more than one person?
Maybe you don't or you do, but how about you find a different way to talk about it so that you create a bridge so that you can both be in the same pattern of understanding and learning and knowing together rather than saying, I'm superior.
Oh, you know what? We had this conversation with our about children.
I know better than you, let me tell you.
Yeah, so you have the parenting muscle and your babies are grown and they're gone and they don't want your opinion anymore. And you no longer parent, you coach. And so that rather than become arrogant to the children, which I think is just kind of a natural progression of the parental relationship, if it doesn't go sideways, but there would be more of coaching versus arrogance. And the coaching questions would be appreciative inquiry or
I see something, do I have your permission to say it to you?
Yes.
I see something. Can I tell you what I'm seeing? You take it or leave it. I mean, you have to put the caveat in there. Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
So anything as leaders, so any of you who are leading teams and you put them off on an assignment to get something done. First of all, the very act of putting them off on an assignment is a little arrogant to begin with. All right? But you put them off on an assignment to get something done and they bring the work back to you and you simply say no. Wow, that's kind of a form of arrogance, which is, you won't sway my opinion here no matter the work that you did. How do you honor the work and get to a different place, even if the answer is no, that at least the effort is acknowledged? That actually becomes, empathy, it becomes, awareness, it becomes connection, it becomes relationship. The other is just arrogance.
Yeah, so you have to just put down the I know more than you and always go into everything with I can learn, I can be present, I can hold space. It is great to always ask permission first.
Always, yeah.
And it's interesting, I was asked, someone had wanted to give me some information on, some insights on that question that we did 2 videos ago. And I said, no, I'm on my sacred retreat. I don't want to hear your information now. And it's okay. I don't want to. I want to go and do it myself.
And they didn't like that. They wanted to prevail. I mean,
that's
that was
true.
human because it was coming from a place of concern, love, and care.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But then go back to the parent thing. Yes, so it comes from a place of concern, love, and care. But I'm the answer mommy. Like, my child is 31 years old, one's 30, and the other's going to be 29. I'm the answer mommy? That is so arrogant as a parent.
Yes. And it's funny, when I went into my sacred retreat to do that one question on what would I give up, and I told her, you got to be quiet. I'm on my sacred retreat. She kind of looked at me like, what?
I can't tell you what
I can't tell you what I think right now. No.
That's good. So that put me into a place of humility and quiet and inner quiet. It's not my responsibility to tell Fitz what to think or how to fix any issue.
Was I
in her
being
life.
arrogant then with that, or no?
No, no.
Because I was finding my truth.
No, you were actually, here's what you did. This is really important. You put up a boundary and you said, this is important to me. I am making a request. And it was my job to honor the request. If I didn't honor the request and I inserted myself anyway, that's arrogance.
Arrogance. Good.
So I know better. So I want you to think about this. We teach leaders, we coach leaders, we work with leaders. You work at a higher level of, innate intuitive intelligence, teaching people that. And because it's a skill we both have, I always say, in order for me to stay humble in that work, I have to remember I might only be a step or two ahead of the person. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If I think I've got it made and I can come tell you how to be the leader of leaders, that is so insulting.
Yeah.
It's insulting.
Yeah. And there are many one-to-one sessions I have with the leaders where I go, well, thanks, I really learned a lot. And I sometimes, get done with the Zoom call and I go, well, I'm supposed to be the coach, but they're coaching me. But it really is being able to just advance awareness. When you're in a good mojo, a good vibe, and you're in that love vibration, not the fear, not the resentment, not the arrogance, not the ignorance, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
It's an exchange.
Right.
It's a vibrational love exchange.
Yes.
In the highest form
And
of
that's
love,
what we've
which
been
is
talking
wisdom.
about. We want
Yeah.
that, not the fear.
Yeah, yeah.
In our leadership, in our lives, and in our hearts.
Well, let's go to Merriam-Webster again.
Okay.
Having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities.
Ah.
An attitude of superiority manifested in an overbearing manner or in presumptuous claims or assumptions. Woo, big word. That's a big
Yeah.
word. Now, quick arrogance examples. I love this. I don't remember where I pulled this off of. So credit where credit's due. I will look it up, and if I can link it, I will link it in the bottom. Refusing to admit when you're wrong.
Mm.
Leaders, sometimes that's a tricky wicket, isn't it?
Who does that?
Yeah, if I
We all do, yes.
if I
every day.
don't admit I'm
It's
wrong.
part of, we're talking the human experience,
Yes,
folks.
exactly
So,
right. Yeah, and we want to humanize
don't be
leadership.
ignorant and believe that this is not you, because we have all walked this path as the human experience.
Now here's one that's mine, and I am working on this like crazy. Interrupting others when they speak.
Mm.
It's arrogant.
Mm.
3, talking over someone in a meeting. Are you doing any of this? Okay, check it off if it's yours. 4, assuming that you're the smartest person in the room. I know. Do you get that? I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I got it.
I have a knowing. So let me share my knowing with you.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's so arrogant. 5, dismissing others' ideas without consideration.
Mm.
And 6, I love this one. Refusing to ask for directions when lost.
Oh.
Or I could add 6.A, because my older son says, Mom, never argue with the direction lady. Never argue with Siri. But I will be so arrogant to say, I think I know better. I'm going to take the side road. It's 10 hours later. Hoist my own petard.
Yeah, so in your advanced awakening of who you are as a heart-based leader and living a heart-based love, becoming humanized is what Mary Pat's book is all about. We need to dance with these two words, ignorance and arrogance, and really get to know them because they're teachers.
Yes.
Just like fear is a teacher.
Yeah.
And if you can dance with it,
Even
and
with
if
humor.
you can dance with humor, dance with openness. Hey, you've even seen me argue against wisdom, going, I don't think so. It's like, listening to a sermon a long time ago, and God's on a bike built for two, and you're on the back seat, and God's steering it this way, and you're going, knock it off, you're going the wrong way. But if you can get on the bike at least, if you can be open to it, and ask your higher wisdom and love to come in and teach you, the doors will be open. We talk about it, hell in the hallway, and we get in the hallway of hell when lots of things are going on. We don't know which room to go into. We got to open the doors of curiosity.
Curiosity, compassion, empathy, humility.
Right, and down that hallway would be those mirrors of arrogance and ignorance.
And they're blinking like you're in Las
and
Vegas.
at the
They're
end
blinking.
is the coffin. Bury it
Bury
and
it.
go into the rooms of awareness. Find community to do that. Again, click subscribe. Thank you for joining us. We'll probably do another one. This is a good topic.
Yeah.
Thanks.